In today's video, we are talking about the infamous Canon R5, and is it really worth all the hype that you've seen online? Today's video, we're gonna find out. Hey everyone, it's Indira. Welcome to a new video, and on this channel, I like to do gear reviews, camera reviews, and from time to time, vlogging. So if that's something that you are interested in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content. So I was lucky enough very recently to be able to bring home the Canon R5 and test it out. Now, the Canon R5, right off the bat, just holding this camera, honestly, it felt amazing. I missed the ergonomics of a Canon camera. I still have my Canon 90D. It's on the shelf right over there. And I just love how Canon cameras feel. It has a very nice grip. It feels like a DSLR. With the Canon R5, you can hold this. I mean, this thing's a beefy boy and it has an amazing grip on it. And I really appreciate that larger DSLR type feel with having the lightness of a mirrorless camera. So along with the ergonomics of this camera, it's also a very good looking camera. I mean, it has a very nice finish to it. The lens that I was using was the 24-70 f2.8, and that is a massive lens. I mean, just holding that lens, it gets tiring. It's pretty heavy, and I have seen the 15-35, and that's a little bit lighter, but it's still a gigantic lens. So if you were to pair the R5 with the 15-35 RF lens, you have a much bigger and larger and just heavier setup than if you were to, use the Sony FX3 with the 16-35 G Master. The R5 is basically the same price as my Sony FX3, but the big difference is that it takes a SD card and a regular CF Express type B card, if I'm correct. And even though those are pretty expensive, they are cheaper than the proprietary Sony CF Express Type A cards. So you are saving money in that regards, and the fact that they are more readily available. I really liked that this camera had V-Assist, Log Assist, where you can program it to be Rec 709. And so with that, you're actually seeing what a graded video would look like. So you can expose your video a little bit easier just by looking at the LCD screen. And that is a really nice feature, and I like that Canon has that. Now, there are a couple of downsides to the Canon R5, even though it is a beautiful looking camera. It has that 30-minute record limit, which is a little bit unfortunate. I wish that Canon didn't have that. Maybe in the future they will take that away, but right now it still has that 30-minute record limit, and that is just a little bit annoying. That's why I really like my Sony, because if you're doing like an interview or a longer format video, then you don't have to worry about that record limit. Also, the R5 does not have tally lights. I know with this camera, my Sony FX3, that I am in fact recording. It's very, very easy. I can look at the LCD screen right now and I can see a big red box around it, and I know that I am recording. With the R5, there's just a little notification on the screen that you were recording with the red dot, and that was basically it. So it was kind of like, I don't know, am I recording, am I not recording? I found that to be a little bit annoying. The menu system is easy to go through, and I like how it's easy to change to 1080p to 4K. The battery life on the Canon R5 is pretty good, considering how much it's doing and just how much power it's sucking from the body. These newer batteries are definitely a little bit better. I do like that they made a newer battery along with this new iteration of cameras. Some things that I noticed, so I did a talking head video like this on the Canon R5, and I was going to use that, except I realized that my audio, when I was filming, the beginning and the end was fine, but then all throughout the middle, it like cut off for some reason. Like, it just wasn't even showing that I was like recording, and I had no idea until I got that back onto the computer, because I use a boom microphone, the Rode VideoMic NTG, which plugs into the mic jack on the camera. And on the R5, since I have it boomed right out of frame, and the LCD screen is a little bit larger, and so I couldn't see my audio levels in that. Like, it was kind of like in the way of that, or how much time I had left for recording. So I don't know why the audio levels just like disappeared all of a sudden. I've never had that happen with my Sony FX3, so I don't know why that happened. I don't know if it was like a Canon thing. I recharged my microphone and it seems to be fine, but just like a weird occurrence that happened, and now I, have to refilm this talking head bit. So some of the big differences between the Sony FX3, like you're seeing right now, and the Canon R5 is that this camera, the Sony FX3, it has a built-in fan. And that's really nice because it doesn't get hot. You can film in 4K and all that good stuff, and it literally will not overheat because it has a built-in fan to keep it cool. Now the R5, even when I was filming in 1080p, the all-eye codec, it got a little bit like warm. Like, you could, like, if I touched it, it was a little bit hot, and it's like hot in this room right now, but it's not even like I was outside or anything, so I don't really know why it was like hot to the touch, and I wasn't even in the 4K setting, so that is something to know. And I don't like that it just feels hot when you touch the camera. Also, the R5 is a hybrid camera. It has 45 megapixels, so it does photography and then video, while the Sony FX3 is more video-centric. And you can tell by the different buttons. The record button on the R5 is super tiny. It's like really tiny. It's like tough to find. Of course, you can program the shutter button to be the record button. That's just something that I noticed, and I wish it was a bit more prominent on the camera. And another difference between these cameras is that the Sony FX3 does not have a viewfinder, while the R5 does have a viewfinder, and I don't really mind that like this camera doesn't have it. Other than that, the Canon R5 was so much fun to play around with and to use. It was nice to use a Canon camera again. I mean, I do miss it. I do have my Canon 90D, like I said, but to use and just see the Canon R5, I understand why people gravitate towards that camera and why it is such a hyped up camera, because it just feels great in the hands. It works when you want it to, for the most part, in a controlled setting, and it just looks great. It's easy to use. The menu systems are easy to go through, and it's what you're used to. It's what you are used to in a Canon camera, except it has just better features and can do 8K RAW, which is like insane. I honestly, like, if I didn't get the Sony FX3, I would probably get the R5 because it's a really good camera. The biggest downside to the R5 is that it is tough to get. If you go in B&H, it's most likely on back order, and so is the 15-35 lens is most likely also on back order. And I work at a camera store. I work at San Jose Camera. I'll leave the link in the description below. And when we get our R5 bodies, a lot of them are prepaid, or people have put down a deposit. So right when we get the R5 bodies in, they immediately go out. Along with when we sometimes get the 15-35, that also just immediately goes out or gets sold like that same exact day. It's a very high commodity type camera, and their lenses are also very popular, except Canon can't keep up with the demand, and when we do get them in, it's very far and few when we get a Canon R5 in. And it's kind of disappointing because people want the R5. People call in on in the camera store and they say, hey, do you guys have any R5s? Do you have any R6s? And we have to say, no, I'm sorry, we don't. And even if we were to special order it, it would probably be months till yours comes in. And that's a big downside. People want this camera right now. They want to walk into the store and be able to pick up an R5, an R6 body. And Canon is having a tough time delivering on that for their customers. And even though we work with the manufacturers, like we get supply directly from them, even then it's still tough to get these cameras. And with the Sony cameras, they are better on supplying the cameras to us along with lenses. We are pretty low on Canon stock in the store, and it's a bit disappointing because people, they want these Canon cameras and we just don't have them. That is another thing to consider, the supply and the demand of a Canon mirrorless camera. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to like this video and again subscribe to the channel. It really does help the channel out. I would love to get to 1,000 subscribers soon. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.